You're listening to the Rewrite the Rules podcast. We are your hosts. My name is Harriet.
I'm Beth.
And I'm Natalie.
You want to work towards achieving true food and body image freedom, you are in the right place.
Rewrite the Rules podcast is your survival guide to letting go of harmful societal expectations and unlearning any unhelpful beliefs that are stopping you from having a healthy and loving relationship with food and yourself.
Our mission is to help you feel heard, understood, and empower you to step out of the box and rewrite your rules so you can live life on your terms. Thank you for tuning in. Hi, everyone.
Hello, welcome to episode 18 of Rewrite the Rules podcast. This episode is hosted by myself and Harriet. It's Beth's birthday week, so we're giving her the day off.
Yes, happy birthday, Beth. And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about a very relevant topic, and that's how to navigate going on holiday when you struggle with your relationship with food and your body.
Yes, obviously this episode is coming to you in the peak of summer, and my God, is it the peak of summer?
Oh my God.
So we know this is going to be a relevant episode, and in fact I just got back from holiday. I was in Greece, and Harriet is going on holiday this week.
Yeah, so we thought this topic would just be perfect. And what we're going to do is we're going to be talking about how to navigate the struggle through the 3 holiday stages. So before you go on holiday, during your holiday, and then after your holiday. And we felt that this was just really important because depending on what stage you're in, depends on the struggle that you're facing. So we felt that we can just touch upon all those bases and not leave a rock unturned, as they say.
Yes, 100%. We want you to leave this episode feeling more secure, equipped and empowered. So make sure you keep listening and share with a friend who you think will also benefit from this episode.
Yes, amazing. Okay, shall we get on to the before stage?
Yes, let's do it.
So the before stage, and I was thinking about the duration of the before stage. Like, when does the before stage start when you start to feel anxious and panicky about going on holiday? And I really can't put my finger on it because it could be honestly like a year before. I've had many clients who, as soon as they've booked their holiday, that's it. That's when this anxiety starts to sink in. But it also could be just like a few weeks before. So there's no judgment here. It's just whenever you start to feel that anxiety and panic before going on holiday. But it doesn't matter how far in advance that is or how soon that is to the holiday. But essentially what I've noticed personally, and Natalie, you can tell me if you agree, but before people go on holiday, if they struggle with their relationship with food and their body, there's normally a lot of extreme dieting, which leads to a lot of extreme binging. There's normally a lot of anxiety about the holiday. What will they eat when you're on holiday? Will I get tanned? Will I fit into my new clothes? Will people take pictures of me? Will I look good in the pictures? And there's just all of this anxiety. It's very anxiety based, a lot of overthinking, a lot of panic, and it really just takes away from the excitement and planning of the holiday. And do you have any experience of this yourself?
Yeah, definitely. All of those things in which you've spoken about, I've experienced multiple times. And specifically, in the past, my mindset was, I'm going on holiday, so the natural thing that I must do is I must diet. There was absolutely no question in that statement whatsoever, and it was pure facts. I thought, everyone that goes on holiday, you diet beforehand, so that is what I do. And I'm really sure that for many others out there and a lot of listeners, you probably also think this is the norm. But what behaviours I would engage in before holiday, and it could be 6 months before, it could be a couple of weeks before, because sometimes you get into that thing of you really feel like you have to do something at that point in time, which I really did feel like I needed to do, and then you leave it and leave it and leave it and leave it, and then you get into this pure panic, and then you go 100 miles an hour at whatever those behaviours are and which you think you need to do to be holiday ready. And for me, it was extreme restriction of food, like really severely restricting, the most hardcore exercise regime. And I ran loads and I done spinning, because I always felt that they were the hardest forms of exercise on my body, and that they would make me lose weight the quickest, which is not true. And it's just putting strain on your body, if anything else. I would literally be so anxious about pictures, and I would feel like if I didn't get that bikini picture, like, and that perfect bikini picture, my holiday would be a failure. Like, I would want this bikini photo because I feel like that would show off my hard work. And also, it's funny because when I look back at other holidays and when I had photos taken, I didn't care then. And I never sat there and obsessed about photos, but I would already be obsessing about the photos before I went away. So I would be looking at previous photos of holiday and what my body looked like and be like, right, well, I want it to look like that. But back then I didn't even care. So it really goes to show that those pictures for me were just all about before and after, and they weren't about when I was really obsessing about my weight and what I ate. It wasn't about being in the moment. And to think of a holiday just being about a photo is actually, it makes me really sad.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I 100%.
Did,
I went through all of that.
yeah, like what was your experience similar?
The way I had it was, okay, so if I booked a holiday and it was in 8 months' time, in my head I would think, okay, for the next 6 months I can just eat what I want. And I was very much binging a lot because I felt like, well, I need to make the most of this time before I need to diet. So
Yeah, yeah.
roughly 1 to 2 months before a holiday, that's when the extreme dieting would happen, and then the binges would get worse. And it was very much this all or nothing. It was very much this what's the point attitude. And I would extreme diet and then I'd binge. I think, what's the point? And then I'd get back on it. And there are even times where I just thought, I'm just going to like fast for like the week before, or just eat as little as possible the week before. And obviously, again, led to a lot of binges. And I remember just always binging the night before a holiday, and then always at the airport as well. So it doesn't matter what time it is, I just want to eat as much as possible. But yeah, I think I very much subscribe to this bikini body mindset, and it was just like every holiday this one's going to be different. This one I'm going to look amazing. I'm going to take so many bikini pictures, because I never took bikini pictures, like, ever. And every holiday for me felt like this new chance to take that bikini picture. And I just, in my head at the time, I just felt like I failed at that. So it was just, yeah, like what you always say, this merry-go-round that I felt like I was always on when it came to holidays. Like, this one would be different, this one would be different, this one would be different. And it just never was. And I think, as of course it was awful for my mental and physical health, but it really affected my trust of myself.
Yeah.
Because I just didn't believe myself, after the 100th time of saying, this time it's going to work. I just, no, Harriet, you're just going to fail again. And so it was really bad for my self-esteem.
It just, when you say it back now, it just sounds like torture, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That we'll put ourselves through that.
Yeah.
And it's so true, like, this holiday is another chance again at that bikini photo. Why are we so obsessed with these photos?
Honestly, no one cares.
Yeah.
That's the truth. No one cares. I don't think anyone on this planet is thinking, oh my gosh, I wish I saw Harriet in that bikini.
Yeah. I can't wait to see Natalie in that bikini on the beach. No one is saying that. No one's sitting at work saying that.
Literally. It's so ridiculous. Like, who do we think we are?
I know. But yeah, as we say, we know this is easier said than done, but it's important to try and relax. Yeah. And just to be excited for your holiday and to think of other things other than seeing, your body and food, as that one thing that makes your holiday. You need to think of connecting with people around you, seeing a new place, having adventures, laughing with who you're with, and making new memories.
100%. I think that before stage, there's so much more you can do rather than just extreme diet and worry about that bikini photo. Like, take a look at like a travel blog talking about the place that you're going, and I'm pretty sure they're not going to mention anything to do with your bikini body.
Here at this destination, you can take a bikini photo because the aesthetics are the best.
Like, you're not going to find that anywhere. Like,
No.
you know, like there's so much more to look forward to. And yeah, I know it's easier said than done, but like Natalie said, try to relax. It's okay. Honestly, I think it's a perspective shift, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think it is about being quite assertive with yourself, and, you know, making sure it's clear to you that this shouldn't be the most important thing in your life.
That's what I think. It's giving yourself tough love. And some of the things that I do if I feel that I'm getting anxious about going away on holiday is I do exactly that. And, you know, we've said so many times, it's about reinforcing what you're going to enjoy about that holiday. Write it down. And when you're having those anxieties come up, read them, you know, write down that you're excited to spend a certain amount of time with maybe whoever you're going with, you don't get to spend that much time with. Also, if you're worried about your body, write down the things that you appreciate about your body, because without your body, you wouldn't be able to go on holiday. So that's one appreciation in itself. And just keep trying things like that. And I promise you, with time, you will find your way of navigating through those, you know, anxieties.
100%. I love what you said there. Without your body, you would not be going on holiday. So
Yes.
appreciate it.
Yes, definitely.
Love that.
But shall we move on to during your holiday?
Yes.
So yeah, when you're actually on holiday, I found that the main struggles among people is the binge eating, low self-esteem, comparison to others. My God, I used to have that so much. And being afraid to take photos and just generally not being present.
Yeah, I found the same too. And I think especially when you put so much pressure on yourself in the before stage, when you're actually on holiday, it suddenly is like, it's like you've erupted. If you haven't erupted already, I think the eruption can very much happen when you're actually on holiday. And I'd love to ask you, Natalie, like, how was being in Greece versus being on other previous holidays?
Yeah, so me and you spoke before we did this, and I said I'm going to keep it 100% real and honest and truthful. So this holiday for me was the first. Look, I'm human, and I still have my struggles, and beforehand, and we spoke about this, I still had anxieties around going on holiday, because this holiday was the first time in which I truly have committed to saying to myself, I'm not going on a radical diet. I'm not saying that my body needs to be a certain way. So for me, that in itself is a huge, huge step. My previous holiday before Greece last year, I found that freedom whilst being on a holiday, but I did still commit to an exercise regime and put in a certain amount of pressure on myself. And then I found my freedom with food whilst I was on holiday and freedom with my body towards the end. So this time I said, no, I'm really going to commit to saying I don't need to look a certain way. I don't need to feel that pressure. But yeah, the anxieties were that how would I feel in a bikini? You know, would I feel comfortable? Would I feel comfortable with photos being taken out on the beach and those things? But I worked on those anxieties before I went away. And the way I worked on them was to tell myself how far I've come, and that, you know, I deserve these memories that I'm going to make free of restrictions, you know, with food. And I really feel that as soon as I did that, it might have taken a little bit of time, but as soon as I went on holiday, those anxieties melted away, because I was like, I am no longer letting these things hold me back. And I now know that I have the coping mechanisms and the tools to be able to deal with those emotions, and to remove the thought of how I look physically in that having a hold on how I experience my holiday, and choose to cherish how I feel emotionally above that. Because, you know, I have to tell myself that my body no longer defines me, or, you know, the things that I enjoy. So the things that changed was I no longer had any binges, which was always a thing that I kind of felt like I'm really giving myself freedom with food now. Surely I'm going to eat loads. But it helped me with, I just said I felt the most freeing. I ate what I want when I wanted. I drank what I want when I wanted. And I had such a thing about liquid calories on holiday. I'm putting in quotation marks, liquid calories, because I would feel like I'm wasting calories. I ate crisps. Oh my God, like, I would never do that. When everyone used to talk about the best thing on holiday is about eating Lay's and a Fanta lemon, I never did that. I never allowed it. I had desserts. I have a thing. I'm very much a child and I love trying different flavoured fizzy drinks. Just those little things, like having the freedom to do those again were things I never allowed myself before. And photos, this is where I'm going to be very honest. I didn't obsess over them. So what I do now is, because your body changes through your holiday, you're drinking a lot more than you do. I drunk, like, when do I drink at home? At like 11 in the afternoon, and then have one in the, at 3 o'clock, and then drink all evening. I don't do that back home. So your body is going to react. And I just said to myself, I let it do its thing. And I'm going to take a photo and I look at it in the morning, because nothing's going to change, And on holiday, I was coming on my period, so mentally for me, that just sends me absolutely, my emotions are through the roof. So I already knew that as well, but I had one day where I said to my boyfriend, will you take a photo of me? Because I just thought, look, I don't take any photos now really anyway. So he did, and I had a meltdown. And I'll be completely honest, I had a meltdown, and I looked at it and I was like, it just spun me a bit. And it also made me feel a lot of guilt, because I thought, I've worked so hard to not feel this way. But what I did straight away was I sat with that feeling and I said, you know what this is. You know that your body is reacting in this way because you've enjoyed foods and you're allowed to. And you know that you're coming on your period. And even my boyfriend was like, I'm just going to leave you to it for a minute. And I sat with myself. I said, no, I'm going out and I am enjoying myself. I'm enjoying the rest of this holiday. And I just moved past it. And even he said to me, he was like, I'm so impressed. And I just thought to myself, I'm still allowed to feel those things, but I know that I can work on them. And I'm back home now. And yeah, I'm proud that I worked on those emotions. And I just thought it's important to be honest, because someone else might be feeling that way.
100%. I'm proud of you too.
Thanks.
That's amazing. And you know what? No one ever needs to pretend that they're just completely symptom-free and without struggle. I still have struggles. Sorry for interrupting the episode, but we just want to give a very quick shout out to our sponsors, us.
If you're loving this episode and the podcast so far and want to support this podcast further, then head to the link in the show notes and show your appreciation by donating us a coffee. We'd massively appreciate it.
There are also other ways to support us for free, like dropping us a rating and review on whatever platform you're currently listening to us on. If you're watching us on YouTube, then please like and subscribe.
And you can, of course, follow us on Instagram. It's at Rewrite the Rules Pod, and share our podcast with anyone that you think will love it.
We do all offer our own coaching and therapy packages if you would like to work with any of us. All links to those and more info are all once again in the show notes.
Now let's get back to the podcast.
Yeah, what struggles do you still feel that you have, or what's your experience now when you've been away?
So I think because I took away a lot of attention that I was placing on my body, and I stopped focusing on my body, and that really helped me. I made my method was just making my body not the most important thing in the room, not the most important thing in my life. As long as I was healthy, that was my box ticked. So when you go on a holiday and you're wearing less clothes and there's pictures being taken, of course it's suddenly all that focus and attention goes back on your body. And my body's like changed quite a bit, and sometimes I'm like, whoa, oh, is that me? And it's not that I think it looks bad, it's more I've had moments where I felt like I don't recognize myself.
It's a different you. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
And
I think that's the thing to remember. It is a different me, but different doesn't mean bad. It's just different.
Yeah.
And I think exactly what you said, it's about sitting in that fear, sitting in that emotion, like sitting in that feeling of this is different, this is uncomfortable, but let me sit on it. Let me really try and understand what does this mean, and how am I interpreting this, and kind of trying to be more rational as well. And I think I'm really lucky because my boyfriend is probably the most rational person on the planet.
We need that.
Us girls need that.
Yeah.
So I can tell him how I'm feeling, and it's like I give him emotions, he spits out logic.
Yes.
It's like a translator. And
so true.
Yeah. And again, I think for me, the most important thing is that it doesn't affect my behavior, because I think that's the problem. It's like when you have a thought that's like, oh my gosh, I'm so fat, I'm so disgusting, then normally for me, that of course, and for most people, then your behavior changes. Okay, I need to restrict, or I need to do this, I need to do that. And then you just kind of enter this vicious cycle. For me, the most important thing now is to just not act on those feelings. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let this change my day. I'm
Yeah.
still gonna go out for dinner tonight. I'm still gonna drink all those cocktails tonight. And I'm just gonna carry on, because I know this will pass. I'm not gonna be feeling this way forever. I'm probably not gonna be feeling this way for the rest of the day. I'm just feeling like this for now, and I'm gonna sit on it, and I'm gonna, journal on it, and I'm going to give it some attention so that I can move through it. But yeah, I just loved hearing like your story is from Greece, because I think it's just, yeah, it's so important to be honest.
Yeah, and honestly, I couldn't agree with you more. That feeling, it's about how you work through it, not act upon it. And that was so the same for me, because the previous me, for a minute, I thought, oh my God, like the previous me would have been like, I'm going out and I'm not going to eat as much as I want to. I'm not going to have that drink that I want to, because it's just going to add to how I'm feeling. No, no, because we know where restriction gets you.
Yeah.
And you don't need to punish yourself. And it is, that feeling of looking at yourself and feeling like it's a different you. Why aren't you allowed to change?
Yeah.
Why do we have to stay the same? Our bodies, they do change.
Yeah.
And I know that now. And, I think we should both be proud of ourselves, because this is what life is all about. It's about going away and having that freedom to do what you want to do. And holiday is a privilege that, not a lot of people get to do. And that in itself is something to be really excited about.
Yeah, 100%. It is a privilege. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, like stop letting your body define your holiday.
Yeah.
It's not what you're going to remember in 10 years' time. You're not.
No way.
Unless you've made your whole holiday about your body and all about food, yeah, you're going to remember that, but it's not a good memory.
No.
It's sad, and I mean that with compassion and like no judgment. I've been there, but
Me too. Yeah.
it's sad. You don't want that for yourself. And again, it's not about not having those feelings at all, not having those thoughts at all. You're going to have them probably. If you're listening to this and you're struggling, even if you've reached that stage of recovery, you're probably still going to have those thoughts and feelings every now and then, but you just don't need to let those thoughts and feelings take over. So yeah,
completely 100% agree. It's just working through them, and it's uncomfortable sitting in that feeling. It's really uncomfortable, and that's why sometimes we use other things to block them out, and that can be, we block them out with binging, or we block them out with saying that we're going to restrict, but it's just, there's a different way of doing it, and it will get you to a happier destination.
100%. So if you're on holiday, again, just try and embrace it. Think about the little things and talk about it. If you're with family and friends, I know sometimes it can feel a bit taboo to talk about how you're feeling anxious whilst you're on a holiday, because it's all like, well, you should be enjoying your holiday. But just, it's okay to speak about it. It's okay to admit that you're struggling, no matter where you are on your journey. Even if you felt like, yeah, I'm completely recovered, but I'm having these like, you're allowed to talk about it. When no one is expecting perfect recovery, perfection in any area. So yeah, don't keep it to yourself.
Yeah, definitely relieve that pressure off yourself. And if you're with a loved one, then it's just open up to them, and that in itself can take the pressure off.
100%. But yeah, okay, should we move on to the after holiday stage?
Yeah.
So again, I'd say the most common thing I see in the after stage is just the extreme dieting and binging cycle. But I'd actually say to some extent it can be to a higher extent, because I've definitely been there where you're on holiday, you're binging, or you kind of letting yourself loose because you're on holiday, which is great. And then you think, okay, but when I come back, that's it. I need to sort my food out. I need to sort my exercise out. I need to get back on track. And you can kind of go at the dieting at turbo speed. And if you go at the dieting at turbo speed, then the binging normally follows afterwards at the same kind of pace. Would you say the same?
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, especially on holiday, because the natural thing that you do is that you eat
So
more.
do do.
Do do. Did you do do?
Like a child.
Oh God, we've got to keep that bit in.
Definitely.
Literally like
Honestly.
me. Someone says that one word and I'm like,
It's like, did you ever watch Friends? Or do you watch Friends?
I didn't watch Friends, but my friends watch Friends, so I know every quote from it.
Because there's a doo-doo line in Friends as well, where Chandler's like, doo-doo.
My friend has told me that, so yeah, I 100% know that quote.
Oh,
But yes, we eat more and we move less, which is completely normal. So it's almost the feeling of wanting to diet is even more intense when you get back home because you
yeah.
feel like you've been a lot less active. But yeah, I think I've definitely experienced those things.
Yeah, 100%. I think thinking about like my experiences post the holiday, yeah, and it also it takes away from even some of the on holiday stage because you get midweek and you're like, okay, I'm kind of excited to go back home so that I can go back on this diet.
Yeah. And it's that thing, isn't it? Like, can't wait to go home so I can eat, eat my normal foods again. When in actual fact, you're thinking, I can't wait to go home because I want to get back to that dieting phase.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it's simply just the same old story. Just yeah, I just want to get straight back on a diet. I'm gonna go really hard this time. It get that same narrative that I was telling myself. This time will be different. I'm gonna lose the weight. I'm gonna do it perfectly. Blah blah blah. And it's just boring. It got to a point for me where I was just like, this is boring because I know how this one ends. And I think I got, like I kind of said prior in this episode, I got to the point where I just didn't believe myself anymore. It really affects your self-trust. And I think the advice I would give to people in this stage is just keep it realistic, keep it manageable. I get that when after you come back from holiday, you feel a bit sluggish. That's normal. But try not to jump to a drastic change. Just keep it manageable and realistic because hurting your self-trust affects so much. And I think part of the goal of recovery is to build your self-trust again and focus on leaving what you tell yourself. So keep your goals small, realistic, and manageable.
I think that's such a good tip. Just keeping everything realistic. Punishing yourself, like you say, is just going to result in a lack of trust with your mind and your body.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I've experienced all of those things in which you just spoke about. I don't know if you felt it as well. It was like such a severe guilt over the food that you consumed whilst being on holiday. I shouldn't have eaten that. Like, why did I eat that? And now that's why I feel this way. And I used to have such a fear of social occasions after holiday because I'll be like, because I feel this way, I'm embarrassed of going to this social occasion and maybe showing the weight that I think I've put on, that I would cancel social occasions because I'd be like, I'm not worthy of going to them until I've lost this weight that I think I've put on. And even that for me now has changed so much. Like this weekend, I'm going away for a friend's birthday, and I would never have done that after a holiday. And I also felt a lot of guilt for not feeling that I was present on the holiday. That realization would kick in that all I cared about was obsessing over those photos. And in actual fact, my mind was so elsewhere. I felt that everybody else was having a really good holiday, but I wasn't fully involved in that. And then obviously, like you say, would come the restriction and the exercise. And again, like you said, it just doesn't build any trust of yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's just confusing for your mind when you are punishing yourself after a holiday because you have to understand like what is the underlying meaning behind your behavior. If you're essentially punishing yourself, you're never going to look forward to holidays because you're always going to have that element of guilt.
Yeah.
So how you respond in the after stage is so important to how the rest of like your days are going to be in that period, because again, like, if you're punishing yourself, you're just always going to think that like overeating and moving less and relaxing is bad. You need to show yourself actually it's not bad. You need to prove that to yourself by relaxing and taking things slowly and not making drastic changes and being kind to yourself and accepting yourself, accepting you went on holiday and you overate and you moved less, but that's okay. You enjoyed yourself and being grateful for the fact that you went on holiday. I think you need to, that's how you can prove to yourself that you haven't done anything wrong, your behavior, through your behaviors.
Yeah, definitely. And like even me now, my God, do I feel sluggish? My God, do I feel bloated? There's no way that I'm punishing myself. I know that it's momentary and I'm allowed to feel this way. I'm not going to tell myself, you know, I'm not going to feel this next week. I'm going to take that weight and stress off myself, the worry, and just let it be, you know, because food equated to memories made. You know, if I didn't go out for dinner, I wouldn't have made the lovely memories that I made in the evening and you know, experience new foods. And so why would I punish myself for that? And like just one little thing, even like my mum, bless her, she still buys low calorie things. God love her. And she was like, why don't we have last night? She went, why don't we have, you know, those 0 calorie noodles?
Oh no, they make me sick, literally make me sick.
And she was like adamant on let's use them. And I made dinner and I didn't, and I just put rice on the plate instead, because I was like, there's no way that I'm having that. But the me before, I would have been like, yes, she's bought these noodles. Like, I'm in this restrictive phase, so like I've got back off holiday, like this is the thing that I'll do. No way, I'm eating exactly the same as I would. So yeah, I think to get through this stage, the after stage of a holiday, and we really do know it's easier said than done, but it's, like I said, just try and get back to normal. Your normal, sustainable way of eating and of living. So no diets, no drastic measures, just slowly getting back to normal.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and so I hope this episode kind of has helped you navigate all 3 stages. I think it's quite an in-depth episode.
Definitely, very in-depth, but I'm so glad we did it, because
100%.
again, if I heard this is what I needed. This is what I needed before holidays.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, just to make anyone feel, look, you are allowed to have these feelings. Don't feel guilt for still feeling them. We are giving you strategies to help work through them.
100%. And honestly, guys, if you have a friend that is stressing about being on holiday, or a friend who's just come back from holiday and is stressing, send this podcast to them.
Yes.
You know, even if you're okay at the moment, or you don't have a holiday booked, I'm sure you know someone who does.
Yes.
So.
Or even with the weather being the way that it is,
Yes.
and anyone feeling like they're worried about putting that pair of shorts on or going for a walk and obviously having to wear less because it's hot outside, this is also going to help. So yeah, thank you all for listening, and yeah, I've really enjoyed that one. So yes, just hope that you all enjoyed it too.
Absolutely. But yeah, you won't see me next week because I'm in Italy
on holiday. Yes, enjoy.
So yeah, but I will see you guys in a couple of weeks, but Nat and Beth will see you next week.
Yes, see you next week, guys.
Bye.